Hey, good morning. And looks like we have some rain again in San Diego. Damn. Ugh. All right. Well, we'll just have to deal with it. So this is getting started. I am James Harnsberger. Good morning. And what we're going to do today now is take off on where we left off yesterday. And I think what we were doing, the part of the exercise was we were going to take each of those little statements about the 5 modes of money, making money, spending money, saving money, investing money, and wasting money, right? We're going to write a little statement about how I felt and how I'm feeling when we're doing those 5 modes of money. And then we were going to write in single word emotion next to that statement by each one of those modes of money. And that one single word, not a hyphenated word, not a bifurcated word, a single word, we were going to write one word that described the emotion. And then we were going to circle that, and then we would have that part of this little exercise completed. And so what we're going to do now is sort of take the next step in putting the next link together. And what you're going to do is alongside of the word that you wrote, the one word that described the emotion, you want to take that word and then find maybe use the thesaurus. When I was a kid, I used to have so much trouble saying that word, thesaurus, right? You want to take that word, that tool maybe, and then find a word that is opposite to the word that you wrote that described the emotion that you circled. You want to find the opposite. So, for example, if making money, the emotion that you had and felt and were feeling was happy, then you'd find something very close to the opposite, maybe unhappy, maybe sad. Something that gets close as we can, like a grenade, close enough for government work, right? Don't have to hit it right on the target, but close, that describes the opposite emotion that you would have felt or have been feeling based on that word, okay? Now, today what we're going to do, that'll link those two pieces together. And then today what we're going to do is we're going to take the next step in the exercise for those of you that are up for it, and I know you are. And what we're going to do, good morning, Ulysses. Good morning, everybody that's signing in. What we're going to do now is we're going to take and organize the responses by each mode of money. We're going to organize a response in the modes of money 1 to 5, and we're going to create a statement that basically you're going to put this together. You ever take a class, maybe in high school, maybe college? Maybe the class was titled something like creative writing, right? Loved creative writing. I'm not really a good writer. I like technical writing, like research and stuff like that. Susan is the writer in the family, is our resident author and writer, very, very, very good writer. And what we're going to do is take a little bit of time over the next day and create a creative writing statement. And in the statement, you're going to write to be sure to include the word felt and the word feeling, right? This statement that you're writing will include the word felt and feeling in your new statement, along with the word that you first chose as the emotion word, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to take from mode 1, making money, all the way through spending money, saving money, investing money, and wasting money, and take those responses that we wrote down and using the word felt and feeling and the keyword emotion that we circled, and we're going to put this together and construct a new statement, a couple of sentences or whatever. and figure out how to make it work so that you're not making a major change to the structure of what you originally wrote. But we want to create a new statement that combines and brings all of these things together about how I felt and how I was feeling when I was making money. And I wrote that response and I had this emotion. And then the same thing as we're going into the spending money. And you sort of want to blend them all together. And here's the cool thing. You don't even have to keep them in the same order. You can mix it up a little bit. And if you want to use one of those maybe twice, not more than twice, but if you want to use one of those twice, that would be cool too. At some point, you should have it on a sheet of paper that you wrote this new statement of creative writing, experiment, test, whatever, and formulating that creative writing assignment by all of these little steps that we've taken this week so far. And then what we're going to do is when we get that finished, give it about, I would say, I think when I did this the last time, I gave it about, I think I did it late morning, and then I gave it till early evening to do the next step. And the next step is go back and maybe polish it out a little bit, right? You ever have a car where you wash the car yourself and then maybe you washed and waxed the car and then you polish the chrome and all of that, make it shiny and bright. So you're going to take your new creative statement and you're going to kind of wax the car a little bit and polish it out, buff it out a little bit and make it shiny and new and bright and all of that, so that it's cohesive, it's congruent, it's understandable, and sounds like something that you would say because it actually came from you. We triggered something that brought it forward and allowed us to do this in little tiny steps. But what we're going to do now is we're going to polish this creative writing assignment out into a finished final draft statement. What is it? It's a final draft statement. The cool thing about this exercise is that when I give the rest of this on Friday and bring this together, it'll be sort of a two-part. We'll bring this all together, and then you'll have what we call aha moment, right? Ever have an aha moment? Oh, I get it. Duh. Done, done, done. And then we're going to link to that aha moment what we're going to be going into next week, because we're going to be building something that this is going to be kind of cool and kind of important on building. These little assignments are very important in finding patterns, right? That's what the purpose is. We're looking for those financial patterns that create the routines, maybe the habits, maybe the behaviors that contribute to or cause us to feel stuck financially. And whenever we're feeling stuck financially, it sort of is an ebb and flow kind of effect. Some days we feel like we have no choice, right? Some days we feel like, oh man, it's just a shitty day. I got all the bills and I got to think about this and blah, 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 right? And so what we're trying to do with this little exercise is sort of unwind that a little bit. And what we're going to be able to see is a couple of patterns that are going to show up. And what is totally cool about the patterns is it's going to give us the key that we're going to need that will do a couple of things. One, it will explain or identify some of the patterns in how we're thinking, how we're approaching, how we're considering the experiences that we have with our financial life, and more particularly with our money, which is part of our financial life. And the second part is that key will give us a part to use some of the stuff that Neil gave us. And again, if you'll go there to the website right there, I think it's tab 2, and you can download the stuff. I think one of those items was tickle the amygdala, right? The cool part of the brain. It's like a thermostat and a radar. So it serves two purposes. And what this exercise allows us to do for ourselves, now that you know how it works, what it allows us to do for ourselves is always be able to go back and, like the radar, identify where we're at on the radar and what our emotional state is when it comes to or involves our financial life or any aspect of our financial life, to explain not only where, why, and how we might be getting stuck, but it would be really cool. It's like, sort of, I remember back in the day, we'd go out to the desert, a bunch of guy friends of mine, guy shit that we'd do, and we'd have like dune buggies, right? And I remember going out in Imperial Valley, and we'd be going over the hills, and we'd go be down little valleys, and then come up over the next hill. And then every once in a while, we'd come up to a hill, and we'd get up there, maybe 2/3 of the way up, and then the dune buggy would get stuck. The sand was like a little bit deeper, and we didn't have enough momentum and traction or flywheel effect to get over the hill, right? You ever feel like that? You have a day where I just can't get over the hill, right? And or some days you feel like you're already over the hill, right? And so what that feels like sort of works the same way in our money. We're just stuck and just can't quite get over the hill, right? And what this will do is it will allow us to use that sort of as a personal tool, that whenever we're having that feeling, we can recognize and acknowledge that it's a feeling, it's real, even when it's not true. And then, like the book that Neil had written and provided a copy, some of that stuff that he gave to us at the site that's right there, you can go to that and flip a switch in an instant, just paradigm shift the emotional state regarding your financial life and the financial aspects of your life. And the cool thing about that is that it always leaves you with more choices of what you can do, what you can choose to do. That part, I think, is probably the biggest aha. When I finally realized that a lot of the stuff that felt like I was stuck wasn't that I was stuck, it was I was just going in motion, but I wasn't getting anywhere, right? You ever have a day like that? You're doing just a lot of shit. Things are moving and flying everywhere. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, I didn't do anything, right? Didn't get anywhere. I'm like 2 steps behind. And that feeling is based on an emotion that's based on an experience. So what we want to do is find out how that works, where it's at. And this exercise allows us to do that all the time. Not 7 out of 8, not 9 out of 10, not even 9.5 out of 10, 10 out of 10. It allows us to do it consistently every time. And we would know or be able to identify the emotional state that we're in when we're dealing with our money. And those patterns will show up, particularly if you're keeping the receipts and separating them into the 2 piles of stuff that I wanted and stuff that I needed. And particularly if you're still writing that little journal, maybe now you're doing it. What did I do in the morning? What did I do in the afternoon? What did I do in the evening? You can kind of abbreviate and kind of go to that next level on doing that exercise. What we're looking for over a period of time is we're looking for things that start happening and showing up that are sort of repeating, sort of a pattern like on a candlestick pattern on a stock chart, right? I look for pivoting events. I look for certain candlesticks like at the top of a pattern inside of a range that I might be trading. I'm looking for the red doji to show up, because if I get a confirmation and I have a red doji, I'm probably going to get out of my position and take my profit, right? Conversely, if I'm going to short that stock, that same signal would be giving me a signal of when I might want to sell and short that position, depending on how deep that trend is going down to cover the short and take my profit, right? Either way, whether it goes up or down, I have a plan to make money if it goes up, and I have a plan to make money if it goes down. The cool thing about day trading and pattern trading and range trading mixed together is you're trading in a range and you're following a pattern that's predictably reliable most of the time. I would say 80% that it's going to be a good indication of the movement and price action of the stock. Remember, the stock market's only about a couple of things. Don't make it complicated. It's about price, it's about volume, it's about buyers, and it's about sellers. Those are the four corners of the foundation. If you know that, then you know how to buy stock, sell stock, you know how to make money on stock, you know how to day trade, pattern day trade, swing trade, range trade, channel trade. You know how to do all of those different kinds of things. Well, when it comes to your money, it sort of works the same way. We look for patterns and we look for up and down. That's our emotional state. And we look for ways that we can maximize profit. We don't care about what the company does. I mean, we used to back in the day buy Disney stock to give it to the grandchildren, and then like everything changed, right? And so now buying stock is about making money, making a profit. So it really doesn't matter what the company does, as long as the stock moves, we can make money. And your money is sort of like the stock market. You're like the stock market, your life. And things are going to go up and down, and you're going to have patterns that show up. You're going to have little signals that give you a clue when to ramp it up and make lots of money, and when to pull it back and put some cash, take it out of the market, and maybe sit on the sideline and wait for the next cycle, right? So you sort of live your life kind of like the stock market, because you go up and down a lot. I go up and down a lot. But I want to make sure that I'm managing the risk and I know how the game's played. Once you know how the game's played, you can win, right? It's when we don't know how the game's played and we feel like the odds are stacked against us, sort of like playing the lotto, right? 1 in 43, 7,000 million, whatever. You have a better chance of getting struck by lightning in my backyard than winning that super lotto, right? So anyway. What we want to do now is bring this together today, take each of those responses that you wrote, take the felt and feeling part of it, use the experience that you had back in the day when you did creative writing. I know everybody's taken at least one class on creative writing and has done some creative writing. Take that key emotion that you've circled and put that all together and create a new statement for today as part of the exercise that we're going to wrap up on Friday. And as a sidebar note, that's kind of a legal term, sidebar. What you're going to do is you're going to take the emotional word that you first identified and then find an opposite. If it was up, then the opposite closely related to that would be down. If the word was in, then the close related opposite would be out. So it kind of works like that, so, sort of like word association. And then just set those words to the side because we'll need those tomorrow, and we're going to need those going into next week. At the end, you have this statement. I would give it at least maybe a 3-hour window, but you want to get, by the end of the day, you want to get to a final draft. In fact, you can just write right at the very top, final draft when it's all polished out. And we're going to need that and work on that final draft on Friday and bring this all together, right? We're going to bring it all together. And then we're going to be able to use this because this will go in your toolbox. This is one of those cool tools that you can use all the time. to do a couple of things like finding the patterns, looking at the routines, looking at the emotional state, being able to identify and have a process that you can go through. And what was cool that I experienced doing this is that I got so good at doing it that I didn't have to write it down. And I just developed a new, I don't know if it's a habit as much as a routine, but I've got a routine where I can get right back into that state right away and flip that little switch in the amygdala, turn it on, and bam, there I go. I'm off to the market, literally off to the market at 6:30 when the bell rings. All right, so today in San Diego is a rainy day. I look at rainy days as shitty days because they're rain and it's cold and it's wet, so I stay in. Susan loves the rainy days, and so we seem to figure out how to make that work. I stay in, and she likes the rain. And so what we're going to do on wrapping up, we'll take a little bit of time and just catch up to make sure we've got all of our parts in place, have everything ready so we can go through the statement, because you're going to want to take a few notes. And of course, you can always watch the video again. That's a cool thing about the video. You can always watch it again and get back up to speed, or go back. What did he say? He talks too fast. What did he say? Just go back and replay, because I can't remember everything that I said in that order. So just hit replay. It's cool. And then that'll work for you. And then I think other than that, have an awesome day. Even if it's raining and you're in San Diego, find something cool that we can pull out of it. I already found my cool thing, and I'm working on that. And then we'll get together and pull this all together, wrap it up, and then we have a new tool for our toolbox, and you're going to be surprised. What's going to surprise you is not only how fast it works, how effective it is, but you're going to be able to identify the patterns, and you're no longer going to be in a situation where you say, I feel stuck. No. Because the minute you feel stuck, you can get unstuck. The dune buggy can get over the hill. We learned that all you have to do is back up, tilt the wheel a little bit, and off you go. And you get that traction and momentum back. Have an awesome day. Cheers, and we'll talk again.